this module, we're going to spend some more time talking about students who escalate and how we as adults can regulate our emotions and behaviors to de-escalate these volatile students. To begin, let's review the big ideas for both self-regulation and de-escalation. We'll start with self-regulation. Remember that focusing on our own self-regulation does not mean that we have a problem. Everybody feels stressed at times, and student misbehaviors can be a trigger for the best of us. In addition, we know that adult escalation tends to increase student escalation. Thus, within everything we discussed, there is the notion of keeping our own emotions in check. Self-regulation can be summarized by two behaviors: patience and calm. The big idea is to keep things from getting worse before further help can be arranged to address the issues. In addition, remember that it's okay to tap out or have another adult take over. Arguing with students is counterproductive, and we can't take student comments or behaviors personally, even if they were meant to be. We'll work more with some challenging students in videos later in this module. Let's move now to the big ideas for de-escalation. First, recall that we can consider escalation in three big phases. Before, when a student is upset and starting to show signs of emotion. During, when a student is really firing up and emotions are at their peak. And after, when students are coming down and returning to calm. Some students go through all three phases in a matter of seconds, while others may stick in one of the phases and the cycle lasts hours. Our most effective interventions are in the form of prevention, not letting the escalation get started in the first place. But once an escalation begins, we need to quickly assess and respond. It's pretty easy to identify a student who is escalating. You'll see their emotions elevated and their actions become more impulsive than calculated. More specifically, we look for the following: a face showing distraction and an inability to focus, looks of anger and simmering frustration, or an inability to focus on anything but what is currently on their mind. At this phase, our best response is to attempt distraction or redirection. Distraction might be as simple as, "Hey, what did you watch on TV last night?" to get their mind off of what triggered the frustration. But it might also be something more direct. "Hey, come here, I want to show you something cool." Or, "I could use your help with this." In either case, the idea is to break a chain of thoughts that leads the student to escalate. As escalation continues, students begin doing and saying things that indicate further escalation of their emotions and behaviors. This may start mild, but can escalate to dangerous levels. As escalation continues, our strategies shift from distraction and redirection to safety. Involving other adults and invoking a safety or crisis plan are recommended strategies. This is where we want to discuss the overlap between self-regulation and the use of effective de-escalation strategies. When unable to keep our own emotions in check, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to effectively calm an escalating student. While it's possible that students may escalate and de-escalate on their own, it's our responsibility as teachers to both ensure safety for all and to attempt to minimize both the safety threats and a loss of instructional time associated with escalation.
A lot of kids get frustrated with their work, and it's very evident when they're frustrated. And if early in my career, if I did not handle that frustration built and led to some sort of outburst or just getting up and leaving the class. And so what I found out working with a team of teachers is that a quick errand sometimes helps. And especially with students that I knew, when I would give an assignment or we'd have a certain task to be done, they would immediately start to get flustered, and you could tell, like you said, the face would get up, or maybe a lot of them would start rocking back and forth that, "Hey, I have this folder, go give it to Miss such and such," or "Hey, could you go run this errand real quick to this person?" And the team is right there on the hallway, so really its location is very close to where I am, but just the act of getting up, getting the mind off, moving, delivering it, hearing a thank you from that teacher, coming back, "Hey, thanks for that, for doing that." It's quick, get their mind off. "Hey, what what can I do to catch you back up? So rather than getting in the face of the kid and say, why are you doing this? Why are you not starting? And just further escalating the situation, it was a quick, easy strategy. They get up, they move, they come back, they've heard thank you a couple times, they're sitting back down, and a lot of times that frustration just stopped because they weren't thinking about being frustrated, and they just started back into the work. I found that very helpful.
I faked that I hurt my ankle and would trip across the room. I mean, just random stuff that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. But I did. I did the fake can't walk and, oh my gosh, I fell down. Like and the kids would look at me like, what is wrong with you? But sometimes they'd stop whatever they were upset about.
So I always had a, corner in the classroom just where there was, like a little couch and cushions, and it was inviting. So they were able to go over there and just kind of calm down. They could grab a book because there was books around. If that would calm them down some of my students, they would want to go stand by my desk, so they would go stand by my desk and that would calm them down. So I think it's knowing what your students need to get them to calm down.
For me, relationships is king, or relationships are king. Easily fell into the mindset when I first started teaching that my management has to do with my stack of detentions or my stack of referrals that were on my desk where everybody could see, or my clipboard that I carried around with an ample amount of detentions or referrals, and that by publicly confronting a behavior with the threat of detention, referral, call home, that behavior would stop. And that was so far from the truth. As we all know, who spent a day in a classroom, that is not a de-escalation technique. That is an escalating technique.
Let's take a look at some students escalating and see how teachers use both self-regulation and de-escalation strategies.
Hey Addison, didn't you guys go to the soccer game this weekend?
Yeah,
Did they win?
they crushed them.
Wow. Well, do you play soccer?
Yeah, I'm a goalie.
Awesome. Well, maybe sometime later at recess you can show me some of your moves.
Sure, I can show you how to kick.
Well, is there anything else you need to do to get started, or you need me to help you to do to get started?
No, I can do it.
Okay, thank you.
Because the teacher saw early that the student was focused on a peer taking off a mask, it was possible to move across the room and provide a simple distraction to break the focus and prevent further escalation. But what if the student had already progressed past an initial escalation? Let's take a look at the same teacher and student under a different circumstance.
Addison, can you please pick up your pencil?
I'm sick of her. She's taking her mask off and blowing germs on me.
Pick up your pencil, please, and I can help you with your problem.
I can't do work when she's blowing germs on me.
Okay, but listen, if you pick up your pencil, I can help you with your work. I need you to keep your mask up. You know our expectation, and everybody needs to stay safe.
In this version, the student had escalated beyond simple distraction and was beginning to act out physically. Because of this more advanced escalation, the teacher moved more quickly toward the student, and rather than a distracting comment, the teacher provided a clear direction. As the student attempted to return focus to the problem, the teacher continued to repeat the direction in a calm manner. But let's take this a step further. What if the student continued to escalate and refused to comply? Let's see how the teacher would handle this scenario.
Knock it off!
Addison, I need you to pick up your pencil and I can help you with your problems.
No, I'm sick of her taking her mask off. She's blowing germs at me.
Okay, but listen, if you pick up your pencil, I can help you with your work.
No, I'm not doing my work when she's blowing germs at me.
You have a choice. You can pick it up now and do your work now, or you can come back later and we can do it together. What is your choice? Thank you. Please remember our expectations. We keep our mask up to keep everybody safe. Okay?
In this third version, the student's escalation was more extreme with an absolute refusal to follow the teacher's directions. But the teacher remained calm, taking a breath to help stick with the game plan. As the student continued to ignore directions, the teacher provided a choice. Note that it was not a threat. It was a calm statement about what the consequences would be, giving the student the decision about consequences. Obviously, not every student acts out in the same way. Let's look at a variation in which a different student wants to continue an argument with the teacher.
Hey Jay, let's get that mask on and our book open. Let's get this work finished so we can move on.
I don't have cooties, so I don't need to wear the stupid mask. And she keeps taking hers off.
Well, let's talk about other people later. First, let's get priorities. Mask, pencil, and let's get our book open.
Okay, well, if I know what my grade is, then I can put my mask on and then I can do the work.
Well, we can talk about your grade after we get our priorities straight. Let's get our mask on, our book open, and pencil going.
Well, if I know what my grade is, then I can put the mask on and then I can do the work.
Well, you know the deal, so mask, book, work. I'll be back.
Okay, hey, what if I do one problem now, then we talk about my grade, then I'll put the mask on?
Let's get our mask on first. Book, you know the drill.
Can we talk now?
3 seconds.
There.
Yes, page 78. Good. I'll go check your grade in Infinite Campus while you do the next problem, number 3. I'll be back.
While this scenario is somewhat similar to the elementary student we've been considering, this older student's refusal to wear a mask was less related to anger and more related to what appears to be an attempt to engage the teacher in an argument. But the teacher simply held to the direction and refused to get sucked into the student's bargaining. Even if the teacher is willing to bargain, the first response should always be that the student follows the initial directions before talking about a future bargain. Let's consider another older student whose escalation is very trying for the teacher's self-regulation.
How do you feel if we put like Cooper's two together?
Hey, how's this team coming along? Max, what's your role?
I'm not getting close to them. They could be sick.
You're supposed to be the recorder, but you haven't written anything.
Yes, I have. Here's you saying something stupid.
Max, your group just wants to know if you're going to participate to help get the work done.
No, I'm not getting close.
Look, we're 6 feet apart. We all have masks on. We're safe here.
Still too close for me. I'll sit across the room.
You have a choice. You can either take a 0 for the day or help get the work completed. Seems like easy participation grade to me.
All right. But I want to wash the table with disinfectant. Emily's dirty.
He's not going to do it.
Yes, I am. Don't be so serious.
Let's get going then.
I still want to disinfect Emily.
Anyway.
My first notes will be about how this group is dirty. Will that work?
I see a lot of groups getting a lot of great things done.
I'm writing too, but about cooties.
He's writing it.
You know about cooties?
We have about 15 minutes. Let's get all of our work completed. Get it done.
When dealing with the bargaining student, the key was in the teacher sticking with the original direction. But when the student's escalation leads to simply attempting to continue an argument by always having a last word or final comeback, the teacher needs to be able to have self-control to simply provide a final statement and walk away. Teachers often have difficulty with this, as the student's behavior can feel very personal, as if they are making an effort to get under your skin. But we have to realize that walking away teaches the student not only that the strategy won't work, but also that we are in control of our emotions and are not a good target for such attempts. In such cases, the teacher may wish to talk to the student after class when the discussion is not fulfilling the student's wish to take time away from instruction and gain attention. Watch the teacher have this discussion.
Hey Max, thanks for hanging back. I just want to talk about some of the things that went on earlier. First, thanks for getting the recording done for your group. To not get those easy points for the day would have really been a shame.
Okay.
Listen, I want to talk about the comments and the hassles in getting started. You know, today it just seemed a little bit off for you, and I really did everything I could to stay calm myself, but this was just not in your normalcy.
I was just joking, messing around.
Well, Max, I understand, and I think you have a great sense of humor. I think you're a great student. I think you know where you're going to go. You know, but it comes across as really disrespectful. In front of the other students, it's really hard as that teacher to try to get everybody refocused. And so I try to treat you with as much respect as I can, do I?
Yeah, I guess.
So I would appreciate it if you could continue in class. You can have your sense of humor, but it needs to be turned off when it needs to be turned off. And there's a time for laughter, and then there's a time for focus. I need you to understand that when a direction has been given, that the comments and the jokes really need to be stopped. And you need to be focused on your schoolwork that is given to you at that moment. Does that make sense? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yes.
Now, let's just be real. You know, I really do like you, and I really enjoy having you in class. It really is a lot of fun. So let's continue to move forward, scratch the bad day, and move on.
Realize that the teacher had actually been angry with the student at the time of the incident, but was still able to remain calm. Again, after class, the teacher's use of self-regulation is necessary to continue being calm and having a talk that does not put the student on the defensive. Note how even while making a strong statement about what the student did wrong and needs to do in the future, the teacher's demeanor was calm and comfortable, simply looking for an agreement. As always, we must be aware that at times a student's escalation can be extreme to the point of being dangerous. At these times, our focus must change towards considering the safety of all in the area. Watch how this teacher handles this more intense situation.
How do you feel if we put like the first two together?
Hey, how's this team coming along? Max, what's your role?
I'm not getting close to them. They could be sick.
You're supposed to be the recorder, but you haven't written anything.
Whatever, do it yourself.
Max, your team needs you to participate and help get the work done.
I'm not writing. I can't work around all these germs.
Max, we're 6 feet apart. We have masks on. We've taken precautions. We're safe. Let's get our work done.
I'm not getting sick for this.
Okay, I understand. If you don't get this assignment completed, you don't get the points.
I don't care about the points.
It's your choice. We have all the precautions to keep us all safe. Let's get the work completed.
I'm not doing it.
Okay, Emily, Nathan, let's get our stuff together and let's go over here and get our work done.
Dirty.
Max, you can work individually and complete your assignment. Everybody, you have about 30 minutes remaining. I'll let you know 5 minutes before the class period is over.
In this example, the students' behaviors were far more extreme. Rather than flippant responses, the student became verbally aggressive and then showed signs of becoming physically aggressive. At this point, it is inadvisable to attempt any further conversation. Even directions at this point are likely only to increase agitation. So the teacher changed the focus to safety and moved nearby students out of harm's way. Sometimes, teachers feel like this response somehow lets the student off the hook, like there was no real consequence. But remember, there is plenty of time to talk about consequences when the student is more receptive. Just because there is no consequence now doesn't mean there won't be one. We just want to pick our spots to maintain safety for all. As time goes by, we will eventually need to reconnect with the student. But we first need to be certain that there has been de-escalation. So let's move on to talk about handling students who, after an intense escalation, are coming back down. One of the most challenging tasks for teachers is judging the degree to which a student has de-escalated and whether there has been sufficient recovery to begin reintegration to the classroom. There are some keys to considering how to deal with these students. First, make sure that the student has had time to calm down. If possible, make eye contact and use that to judge disposition. When the student appears sufficiently calm, we can test them by making a very simple request. Maybe, would you mind changing chairs? If the student complies, it's a signal to keep moving forward. But if there is any argument or hostility, it's a signal to back off a while longer. If there is compliance, requests can gradually become larger and more complex until the student is fully re-engaged. But remember, talk of consequences should be considered a teachable moment. So wait until after class or break, when you have the time to really have a discussion. Watch how the teacher facilitates the student's final steps of de-escalation.
Hey, Max, would it be okay to get you to move over to this chair? I'm sorry. Thanks again for getting calm, Max. Max, again, thanks for getting calm. Listen, while everyone is getting the work completed, let's get the book open and let's work on one assignment. Just one problem. That'd be great. Thanks again for getting calm. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish this, and let's leave that for now. And at the break, you and I will get together, and I'll let you know what you're missing. Thanks again for getting calm.
Note that the teacher didn't rush this. It's important to make sure that the student is ready to comply. If they aren't ready and they're pushed, it could result in another flare-up and could be even more intense. Again, remember that the consequence and making up missed work are discussions for when there is time to really dig into it, not while the student is still volatile. Let's look at one more. As we've said repeatedly, not all students are the same and not all escalations look the same. Sometimes escalation looks like hyperactivity. It's just a student getting carried away. Oftentimes, these escalations are effectively dealt with by using sensory strategies. Sensory strategies include items and activities that involve physical stimulation of some sort. They can be very specific to individuals, but some common examples include bouncing a therapy ball, listening to music or calming sounds, stress balls, and fidget spinners. One of the benefits of sensory strategies is that they can be applied to an entire class rather than just a single student. Watch how this teacher uses sensory strategies.
Hey everyone, I need your attention because I have something I want you to try. I need help with this experiment. Liam, come on up and help me. I need you to be a demonstrator. I need you to help me tell me what the word is that I'm writing in the air.
Is it boat?
No, super close. One more time.
Oh, it's goat.
Yes, fantastic. Everyone has a lot of energy built up right now. Let's burn some of that energy. Someone have a partner and write a word in the air, and your partner will guess what you're writing in the air. Go ahead.
The teacher was able to find a way of having the student focus on a physical task. One of the keys to using sensory strategies is to get students using their bodies and minds in ways that are different from the academic focus. Notice that the teacher asked for movements, touching, and imagining in a number of ways. We've talked about ways that students may escalate and a number of strategies that we can use to de-escalate behavior. We've noted that sometimes student escalation can be stressful and even infuriating. And that makes it all the more important that we consider strategies for regulating our own behavior. Considering and controlling our own behavior in purposeful ways is a key to successfully dealing with escalating students.
Well, my plan is to just model the expectations that I want to see, model the expectations of the building to make sure that the kids are quite understanding exactly what we're needing, and understanding although I'm Miss Palmore online, I'm also Miss Palmore in the building, so we have to merge those two.
Well, in all my years of teaching, the first thing I try to do is to have a relaxed environment in my classroom to where the kids feel comfortable. In my classroom, we have one rule, and that's to do right. And to do right, we treat everybody right, and that's with respect. So having a judgment-free room is going to be extremely important in my mind for a lot of teachers. To have that opportunity to be able to explain to kids and have them respect what we know as adults and as educators.
Definitely mindfulness and being aware of your feelings and your emotions. I've been doing that a lot with my students. We do an emoji check-in every day, and so they put in the chat box on Google Meet. They put in the chat box their emotion and how they're like. They use an emoji picture to show me their emotions, and so I've just been really trying to keep them in tune with where they are and how they're feeling, and being aware of how you're feeling, and talking about how you're feeling is good too, to just to encourage kids to kind of talk about how they're feeling, and being open about that can be helpful too, so you kind of know how kids are feeling and they don't get into depression, and knowing that they can talk about how they feel.
With the kids that have been coming to the NTI classes, the kids, I do Google Meets, and the kids that have been coming, I feel like I have a really good rapport with them. So I think when I finally get to meet them in person and we have that interaction for the first time, I think it's gonna be kind of cool. So my expectation going in is that the connections that have been made already prior to coming back are gonna set the stage for, just kind of rolling right into real life in the classroom.